We go again. Can we not get a pro level game? Okay, there we go. Welcome in. Finally, I've been waiting for not a pro level game all day long. I started out this stream with the idea I was going to cast some lower elo stuff, and then the wheel has had other ideas, but that's fine. That's why we have the wheel. It actually gave us a lot of good games, so I'm not trash talking the wheel. But it has finally given us something different. We've got a 1v1 ladder game here. Both these players are just over 1,000 elo. And we've got tstarkh. I think I'll probably just stick with Stark. Playing as the Britons up against Shoutout92. Playing as the Chinese. And we're here on Enclosed. I don't mind Enclosed. In fact, with the map pool the way it is right now, it's probably my favorite map in the pool. Besides, like, Arena, I guess. But in this map pool we have, that's basically just 5 different Arabias. I think Enclosed is probably quite good. It's an interesting map as well. It's a deceivingly complicated map. It feels like it should be more straightforward than it is, but something about the distribution of res, the like unbuildable ring here, it just makes things complicated. It's a map very much where map control is important, and map control is something that virtually doesn't exist at anything but high elos. It's very, very rare you see a player with really good awareness of map control below the top level. I certainly do not have that. So I'm interested to see what the game plan is here on Enclosed for both of these players. Now, Just Art 92 had an okay start as the Chinese. It's quite good, actually. I will say, Chinese are very, very strong on Enclosed because usually you can keep the idle time almost to 0. You start right next to your rhinos all the time. So if you take your rhino immediately, usually you're looking at a pretty small amount of idle time. I don't actually know what the number is. But this isn't terrible. This is a pretty good, like, Arabia Chinese idle time. And our Britons player has not even found all of the water buffalo yet, and his scout is on auto scout. Probably. I don't want to make any accusations. There's no way for me to know for sure, but this is looking like auto scout to me. Ideally, you want to... Yeah, Stark actually didn't find any of the extra water buffaloes. That's unfortunate. That's very unfortunate. This is another thing about this map, right? If you don't know it, sometimes it's tough to find these things. They're quite far away, right? So, I know that there's 4 neutral water buffaloes out there to find, so I would be looking a little bit more closely, but if you don't know those numbers off the top of your head, it can be very difficult to actually find these resources sometimes, and this might come back to bite Blue pretty soon here. Still has about half a rhino and 1 water buffalo left, but not having 4 water buffalo in is kind of a big deal. Neither player has pushed any deer, which is not super surprising. Well, it kind of is. To be honest, I feel like most players I watch that are like above 800 elo push in deer nowadays. I don't think it's necessarily good. Quite often, I think players do more eco damage to themselves trying to push in deer than they actually receive from the deer. So I don't hate not even taking them, but just an observation. Feudal Age coming in for both players. Both players looking at FC timings potentially here, although I don't think that's what we're going to get. I think these are just delayed Feudal Ages because of the lack of hunt, maybe. Red is heavy on wood. Why do we have 12 on wood? Already with a barracks and a mining camp up. This could be a like two or three range archers play for red. The eco is gonna be nuts. Red's collected about 400 ahead for red off the back of the Chinese start. So there's a lot of resources here floating for red. Blue is going to get onto... This is a nice low... I wouldn't call these players low elo. In fact, 1k elo... If you're above 1k elo, you're actually above average. Quite heavily. But this is a low elo mining camp here between the two resources. I have a feeling blue does not want to be on stone here. I think this was supposed to be the gold mining camp, but the villager has auto-tasked there. Also, just well, this is okay. 5 is all right. Generally speaking, 4 villagers per deer is the number you want to hit if you're being very, very exact about things. We are going... It is actually... Blue is intentionally going to stone. Okay. Interesting. Market blacksmith. Red has also market blacksmith. Well, I was anticipating... Not this. I said it was a fast castle timing, but red does not have the eco even close to go FC. So it's looking like a bit of a sketchy FC attempt, I suppose. Not going to be able to market abuse your way up to castle age anymore, not with the nerfs. Okay, blue has found some water buffalo. That's nice. And don't know if this is... This is fine. Blue will be able to get to castle age. This feels a bit like a everything build. A lot of... I think basically everyone, when they start out playing Age of Empires, they just send a little bit onto every resource. Which is not a bad idea if you don't know what resources you need when. But I think this is going to be a fast-ish castle into a castle drop here for blue. I don't hate it. If you've got the Britons, may as well go longbows. Why not? Okay, red with a sneaky little stable in the corner here. I'm not quite sure... It's a bit of a weird one. It's not so far forward that it is like... I don't know. Okay, we're going to get onto gold out here. Interesting. So red spreading out the eco. I don't hate it. The closer you are to danger, the further you are from harm. And I don't know if blue's ever going to look over here for these two villagers. Generally, when you're going forward production buildings... It's a balance, right? So the further forward your production building is, obviously the closer it is to your enemy, so you can eject units straight into their eco, potentially. But the downside is you can't make those units at home if the enemy shows up in your base. This stable feels a little bit like the worst of both worlds, where scouts aren't coming out very close to the enemy, but they also aren't able to come back into your own eco if things get sketchy. Oh, the auto scout. The auto scout's gonna find... No, maybe not. Okay. It doesn't quite find it yet. I was gonna say the auto scout's gonna find this little base, of course. Hey, Castle Age is in for blue. Doesn't quite have the res for whatever they want to do, though. Red is still hanging out in the... Okay, up to Castle Age now. I think blue just wants a castle. The only thing blue wants in the whole wide world is a castle. They've been really good all year long. They're going to lose a villager here to the scouts. Maybe a couple, actually. Where are the spears? There are spearmen on the field. Where are they? We got to get back. Yeah. There's no reason to have the spearmen out here. Just sit them in your eco. It's no big deal. Look at that. Red even leave. The crazy micro skills here for red. I would have lost all 3 of those scouts to the spearmen for sure. Triple stable for red. Eco is okay. We're gonna need a lot more on gold if we want to make knights, but okay. I don't know how those spearmen apparently did not get a single hit. Looked like a couple pokes, but no damage was done. Stables. I mean, we can pump out a lot of light cav, I guess. Archers are being created now, okay. No upgrades on ranged units for red. Blue has enough for a castle. Pikeman is coming in. Okay. I think blue is ready to drop the castle. There it is. I think up here maybe would have been my choice, personally. This protects the eco back here, but I think you really want to get in the habit of building castle, looking for hills when you're building castles. You can't always do it. It doesn't always make sense to. That's not like a hard rule to always make a castle on a hill. But often it's pretty good. And this one would have also protected the gold and somewhat protected the stone here, so... This is fine, though. It somewhat covers the main base. I think walls also could come up here. Usually you want to wall your main TC spot, like red has done. Another TC, and it's on the inside ring. Interesting for blue. I don't hate TCs on the inside ring, but I will say usually TCing ores on the outside is the meta play for enclosed. Cavalry arrive. Pikemen are not going to be enough to fight this off. There's a lot of military here for red, actually. Thumbring is now coming in. There are knights in here. Get the longbows out. I don't know if longbows are going to save us. Especially because I don't think... Oh no, blue does have a blacksmith. They just have not used it yet. No fletching. So the longbows are not going to be super inspiring as a unit. Crossbow bodkin on the... Or sorry, crossbow thumbring on the way in for red. Red has also not remembered that the blacksmith exists, despite them making it quite early on. With the Chinese, too, that's kind of rough. Chinese get cheaper blacksmith upgrades, or technologies in general, so... A little unfortunate not to have hardly any of those in. Blue's doing a good job with the pikes. Feels like red wants some ranged units to deal with those. Even though red, I think, could actually just take this fight and win it. University completes for blue. Do we see ballistics before any other upgrade is blue? We don't even have any economic upgrades here for blue. The very first upgrade we get, I guess technically Loom came in. But it's much more exciting to say that ballistics is the first upgrade we get in the game. Okay, how are our longbows doing? We've got 7 of them ready to go. Nice. They're chilling out nicely. What do you think they're talking about? They're trying to figure out how to put little feathers on their bows. They're like we're shooting these arrows, but they aren't really super good. There's some way we could like outfit these arrows to make them a little bit better. They're really thinking hard about it. Meanwhile, Red is running all over the place with these cavalry units. We've got... Oh, there we go. Red found the blacksmith again. It's going to be the first armor in. Fletching comes in behind. Light cav also coming in. There are a couple scouts still on the field for Red. A lot of scorpions. We could see Red take advantage of Chinese ballistic scorpions here potentially. No university yet. Pikemen are going to come in. Pikemen OP. Who cares? Scorpions? Crossbows? Doesn't matter. Well, it matters a little bit, actually. All the pikemen go down. Longbows, not taking the best fight in the world. Normally, they do quite well against scorpions, but... Oh, there we go! Blue found the blacksmith. That's so good. Armor and fletching on the way in for blue. Massive. I will say, really, really good TC production from both of these players. Especially blue, because blue's been on multiple TCs for quite a while now, so to only have 5 minutes of idle TC time is quite good for blue. 10-0 KD in Red's favor, but eco number is still pretty even thanks to that. That's really good. Hopefully blue revisits the blacksmith here for Bodkin pretty soon. But I guess you do want to keep producing villagers at the same time. A point to be made here. I think if you're struggling with hotkeys, I think if you don't want to do anything crazy, I don't use a ton of hotkeys or anything like that. The one you absolutely need in this game is select all TC. That needs to be ingrained into your brain. Select all TC. Just hit the create villager button so you don't have to... I don't think blue is doing this because I've seen a lot of vills queued up in one TC and not the other a couple times. That is a very, very useful thing to be able to do. That will immediately make you 5 times better at booming. Just that. Just clicking a select all TC button. Red's done a really good job producing military. Red just is not using the military very much. Okay, this is a good raid, at least over here. But there's been so much military production for Red. And, I mean, 11-0 eco KD is nice. Now we're getting a little... I don't even know if that was an intentional fight. But again, we can be winning these fights, right? The pikemen have 0 blacksmith upgrades, so the knights kill them very quickly. Very, very quickly.
Ready.
Okay, we've got a bit of an AI army here. Scorpions, light cav, spearmen, knights, crossbows, skirmishers. We're just missing infantry, and we'd have the full collection here. I guess a mangonel and a ram also would be nice. Ooh, eco upgrades come in for blue. Nice. Longbow numbers are getting rather large, so if things like Bodkin come in... This is kind of a scary army for blue. Okay, there we go. Infantry upgrades coming in for the pikemen. That's good. Blue's slow rolling it, but red's got to be careful. Second and third TC for red here. But blue's going to be on 4 town centers. That's so optimistic. That's tough. It's difficult to 3 TC boom. 4 TC boom is kind of wild. Yeah, see? 6 villagers. We're just queued up in 1 TC. It was actually the new one. Now 2 vills are queued up over here, but we still have 2 TCs without any work being done. Now the 3rd TC gets some vills. It's so much easier just to click one button and then just spam your villager create button and let the game figure out which TCs need to be making what. Okay. Red's floating a lot of stone, and Red wants a forward castle. Okay. Red wants a forward castle with these 2 villagers. These 2 villagers have created all of this, by the way. Literally all of this was made by these 2 villagers. Red those 2 villagers made more than almost every other part of Red's villagers combined. Theoretically, this castle should not go up off the back of 2 villagers, but there is a lot of military here for Red, so it's possible Blue can't stop this. Oh, and the longbows are getting annihilated. We need Bodkin so bad. Red has ballistics, by the way. Here we go. Ballistics on the scorpions. I don't know if we need it again. I don't think that's a big change. Realistically, in this situation, it does not matter that red scorpions have ballistics. A second armor coming in for blue, and then Bodkin. Ballistics also on the way. Another easy note is if you want to get the attack upgrade first for your ranged units, you want to get the armor upgrade first for your melee units, generally speaking. There are some exceptions to the melee units rule. There are virtually no scenarios where you want to get the armor before the attack upgrades for ranged units. You always want to be clicking that Bodkin first. These two villagers, man, they're insane. MVPs of this whole game, these 2 villagers. They're going to complete this castle. This Adam and Eve pairing here have created an entire empire off their own backs. They even made the pond at the base of this university. Imagine that. They landscaped this pond into the university. Amazing. And now they're going to go back and mine more stone for the next castle. Meanwhile, invigorated by the castle success, Red is now plowing through Blue's building district. These longbows are starting to get rather good, though. They've got full upgrades now in the Castle Age. Imperial Age clicked at the same time. Same exact time. Maybe Red clicked like a second faster. I don't even know if that's the case, though. That's wild. It's crazy how that can happen. I love it. I love seeing that happen. Also, Blue has a lot of longbows. Blue has so many longbows. 40 plus 20 longbows for Blue. It's kind of a tough unit to deal with. If you can get enough of them fully upgraded, it's a pretty good unit. Even against like the skirmishers and stuff, they're not going to do that badly. Micro dependent, but I don't anticipate seeing crazy micro by either player here, I don't think. Scorpion's going down to the castle. Ram working away. Newly buffed Ram, by the way, doing an extra 20 damage, I think, over what it would have done just a week ago. Is that true? 150? I think that's true. But there's just a lot of longbows. Who cares if they're only doing 1 damage per shot? There's 50 of them. So it only takes 4 volleys from all these longbows to take out this ram. And And okay. Saved the university, which is actually relevant because chemistry is a big upgrade if blue knows to click it. Imperial Age is hit. Red was actually a second faster, but only a second. Handcart conscription clicked for red immediately. Blue queues up the Trebs. Nice expansion by blue. How many TCs does blue have? 7? That's so many TCs. I said map control is not the forte of anyone but the top elo. Blue has proven me wrong here. Look at this. Castle on the hill over the TCs. He's got TCs on almost every gold or stone out here on his half of the map. Art's going to get bracer chemistry. Gold, the eco upgrades is nice. But trebuchets are going to start working away here for blue. Bracer comes in for blue. Chemistry on the way for blue. If blue finds Yeoman, it's over. 60 longbows already on the field. There's no way back from that. I'm calling it right now. If Yeoman comes in for blue in this game, then blue's going to win the game. Wouldn't hurt to get elite longbow either. That's a very those are both expensive upgrades though. Rocketry denied for red. I think red noticed that though. I think rocketry was actually canceled in that castle before it went down. Worth noting, you don't have to cancel technologies if your building is going down. You are refunded the resources. I know I used to be worried about that. Long ago, I was concerned that if I still had a research going in a building when it died, I'd just lose it. Things are getting sketchy here for red. A heavy scorpion coming in for red. Could be good, though the longbows in these numbers can snipe down the scorpions before they get in range, theoretically.
Ready.
Yeoman would go so hard here, blue. We've got a lot of res. Let's see it. I want to see elite, fully upgraded elite longbows so badly here, blue. Elite. Let's go. We just need Yeoman. Let's go. When was the last time you saw fully upgraded longbows in a 1v1 game? I can't remember. That's so hype. That is so hype. It's so expensive. It's a good upgrade, though. It is a good upgrade. I'm not saying it needs to be cheaper. Alright, let's see. What does it actually do? I don't remember. It's HP, an attack, and an armor. Okay. The attack's a big deal, actually, I think.
Mandatum.
Yeah, the attack is a big deal against these scorpions, actually. Rocketry now coming in from the back castle. Halb coming in for blue. Okay, we're gearing up, man. We are gearing up so hard for this big fight. No, not the Halb barracks. Blue might want to switch into cavalry here. This is a lot of units. Oh boy, this is a lot. Okay, fighting underneath the castle is good. Longbows are putting in the work, man. They do so much. They're doing it. Ideally, we can. There we go. Split up our shots a little bit would be nice. Elite skirm now coming in for blue. Light cav are soaking a lot of arrows here. Blue is losing a lot of longbows, but red is losing a lot of everything now. I don't know why red repositioned the skirms over here. There's something so satisfying about the rhythm of the longbow shots. Oh, and the trebs go. Imagine Warwolf. Imagine Warwolf here against the Scorpions. That would be so good, man. Blue's got the res. They're just very focused on the micro right now. Red's lost virtually all of the skirmishers, though. Light Cav are not going to get it done here. Warwolf would also help tremendously in the Treb War. But blue just has enough trebs anyway, to be honest, so it doesn't even really need it. There's just enough trebuchets here to kind of get it done. 5-on-1. Although only 2 seem to be firing. Yeoman, let's go! Alright. I said this was it. I said blue wins the game if Yeoman comes in. Let's see if I'm right. Let's see if I'm right. That's the final range upgrade for these longbows. They go up to 13, I think, right? Is that true? I actually don't know. I don't even know the number they go up to. No, they go up to 12. Okay. I should know that. It's kind of important, the difference. The difference is kind of important for bombard cannons and stuff. So I should know that. Final armor. Alright, these are fully upgraded longbows for blue. Fully upgraded longbows. It's 60 plus 15, basically. That's a lot of longbows. That is a lot of longbows. Imagine Werewolf here, though, actually, unironically. There it is. Okay. Blue's got what he needs. Blue has what he needs. Let's see if he can close it out. Honestly, without Werewolf, the Trebs are kind of putting in the work on the Scorpions already. Do you think Blue knows what Werewolf does? It feels like... I'm vaguely surprised, if so, because it's not a tech you see a lot, but it feels like maybe. Didn't even need it, though. Like I said, the longbows kind of can shred through the heavy Scorpions once they get fully upgraded. Final infantry upgrades are coming in. I don't know if infantry is necessarily what we need. I think, well, it's okay against the cav still, but I think cavalry would be a little bit better. But what does red do now? Chinese, they don't have bombard cannons, which is kind of the only answer to Werewolf Trebs, really. They've got maybe Arbalest, but the range difference is so extreme now. I think that's bad. And red's gonna try and Trebor, but Werewolf is in. So blue's not going to be missing shots anymore. And this Trebor is not... Blue even repairing behind. Massive. This is why, by the way, I don't know if you've never heard me say this before, 1k elo is my favorite elo to cast. Because there is no other elo just about where players are... close to elite or elite in certain aspects of the game, but are obviously being held back by being very below average in other areas of the game. Like the lower elos don't necessarily always have the top end, and then if you get a little bit higher elo, the low end creeps up a little bit. But 1k elo, like, this is so good from blue. Repair villagers is nuts. The trebuchet creep here from blue, amazing. 72 longbows, by the way. And this is, if you need an example, this is why I always say, despite me always being on board Britain buffs, I'm leery. I think Britons are kind of broken in a lot of ways, even though they have really bad win rates, generally speaking. There's just, I mean... So, if this was a high elo game, if, like, Mr. Yo or Hera took over from Red's position right now, they'd tech into Siege Ram and go, like, Heavy Ram, Skirmisher, Cavalier, probably, something like that. But it's tough to know what to do sometimes. It can feel impossible to know what to do sometimes against the Britons. Murder Holes, Halb coming in again, Treadmill Crane, final armor for the infantry. The Trebs are going to roll forward, and all All of the work that those 2 villagers put in down here. Oh man, they created so much and it's all being razed to the ground. We have to keep the memory of these 2 villagers alive because record of this wonderful empire they created, they're not gonna survive in the history books. They're simply not going to survive the history books. All this stuff is gonna get trebbed down. Also, Blue has done a tremendous job. So, this is what I'm trying to say. Blue, it felt like Blue had no idea what to do in the early game, right? If I'm circling back around to my point about 1k elos being elite in certain areas and they are just being held back by like 1 or 2 things. Blue looked completely lost in the early game. No upgrades, no eco upgrades, no military upgrades, literally 0 upgrades until Castle Age. Kind of like late in Castle Age, I think. Wasn't creating military, like there was nothing happening. But the game goes on, Blue hits their stride, suddenly they've got TCs all over the map, they're taking resources all over the map. They're pushing with the central push hugely, while still clearing up engagements on the other side, so Blue, like, if I'm looking at Blue here, I'm like, okay, this is like a 1500 1600 elo player. It's just that early game that, I mean, maybe not that high because 70 villagers is not a lot of villagers, but if you're not losing military, you don't need villagers. And it feels like Blue is in a position where they might not lose military ever again. There's so many longbows here, 77 elite longbows to go along with skirms and halbs and trebs, of course. Skirms, the rain block, like, who was it that was, I don't know where that quote comes from actually, but blotting out the sun with your arrows. That's always what I think of with longbows. I don't know if it's the arc or what, but like, this is beautiful too. The skirmishers in front are actually really good because they're soaking up the damage while the longbows are just pumping out the DPS in the back. And Red's gonna lose everything again. Oh, Cavalier coming in on the other side. They're gonna snipe down Trebs. Some of them. 2 Trebs remain though. And it feels like Red's gonna run out of resources soon, right? There's still a lot of gold back here, I guess. I like this. Getting the production buildings up, very important here. A lot of players, this is where I struggled. One of my biggest struggles is just making production buildings when I need to. Men-at-Arms, sure, why not? Blue's getting all the techs now. I mean, yeah, they have all the relevant techs already. I guess Squires would still be good for the halbs. Interesting that the players have not cut into each other yet. Usually this happens fairly early. Like, what were the start? These were the 2 starting TCs, right? So interesting that both players have kind of not chopped through directly towards their opponent yet. I mean, I guess it makes sense from Red's perspective. You don't really want to chop through towards the Britons. Because then the Britons can just put like 2 longbows there and kill everything, but Blue even getting the relics. tstarkh, crazy late game. Absolutely bonkers late game. If they just look up a build order to start the game off and remember to get eco upgrades, they go immediately up to 1400. At least. Because this late game has been nuts. Production buildings here, we're going to start spamming out long swords, I suppose. May as well. Blue's got 4,500 gold in the bank. Two-handed swordsman now coming in. Another castle to protect the relics. Nice. It's going to be 4. I think red has one back here, right? Oh boy, it's going to be impossible to find now. Oh no, there it is. Red still has had a villager lead. A very solid villager lead for a long time. 51-4 eco KD in Red's favor. Res collected 30,000 res collected ahead for Red. But there's just no way to kill this. Oh no, not like this. Where's the army? The scorpions. Not the trebs. Disaster. I think blue has been trying to respond to this. Red actually doing a really good job of distracting on one side. I don't know if that was intentional, but blue was distracted up here dealing with the cavalry while this was happening. Alright, scorpions are going to try and come back in here. They could carve out a couple longbows. Oh, man, we lose so many scorpions just on the way in, though. The range is so different. It's so tough to get in range. 7-12. That's a... Oof. It's almost double range on the longbows to the scorpions right now. All right. Red's going to push on the right. I don't hate this, right? If blue's got the death ball over here, seemingly unbeatable death ball right now, just go the other way. It's not a mobile army, so blue can't bring this army up here. I like this. I like this a lot. I'd also like blue to get some more siege out on the field. But I think blue is dreaming of over 100 longbows. Blue is dreaming for a world where there are over 100 elite longbows on the field at one time. Gonna have to pull back here, yeah. You can never take shots from the scorpions. If you start taking shots from the scorpions, things get really ugly. Ugh, careful! Okay, it's still fine. The scorpions are getting real close to the main ball of longbows here. We gotta be real careful. But this is fine. Scorpion's getting picked off. It's going to make a castle on the other side. Start pushing over here. There are TCs and such. Start pushing. And feels like blue is starting to hit that issue with the Britons. Well, both players are hitting the issue with the Britons, where the Britons are virtually impossible to push, but it's ugly to push with them as well, sometimes. It's tough in both directions. Blue's gonna get there pretty soon. 90 longbows on the field for blue. We're almost there. Do we think we can hit 100? I want to see it. I want to see it, that crisp triple-digit number alongside my beautiful longbow boys in the top corner there. Gotta be careful here. Those scorpions are getting some shots off. Longbows on up top now. That's where the extra reinforcements were sent, but there's not a lot of support here with the longbows, so the skirms and the cavalier getting in a good fight. No, my dreams. My dreams are dying before my eyes. We're down to 80 longbows. Disaster. Oh, what a disaster. 75. I'm never going to see 100 now. Longbows starting to take a good fight up top, though. But red kind of pushing at the bottom now. Elite Chukanu, and red queues up 44 Chukanu. Okay.
Yay.
I don't think Chukanu do very well against longbows, but maybe I'm wrong. I do enjoy a good Chukanu play. Skirmisher is massacred there, but it's fine. Red needed to lose population space for the Chukanu. How are we feeling? Red is up to 50% more res collected than blue this game. But the KD is severely in blue's favor. Also, 4-0 relic still is going to help blue out a lot. Onager for red. There is no SO. Yeah, that's not a good idea. Onager is not the way. I know you want to go Onager against the range units. That is not the way against longbows. Maybe, like, if it's like drill SO or something like that, maybe. But regular old Onager are not going to get it done against the longbows. Chukanu coming in, though. They have their own version of blot the sun out with your arrows. They don't quite have that impressive arc that the longbows do, but it's still cool. Machine guns versus snipers. Who wins? Let's see. The light cav are going to help red a lot. Blue is very much... I mean, blue teched into champions, but hasn't really made a ton of them. It's very much just longbows. Longbows on longbows on longbows.
Yay.
Raid in the south for blue. Halbraid, okay. This TC's gonna die to light cav. Blue does have a tread back out on the field, okay. This is what blue's been missing for the past 20 minutes or so. Was the siege. Unfortunately, blue has created the siege maybe where there's no protection for it soon. Trebuchet goes down. Longbows not in a good spot. Oh, yeah, to dodge. That's a lot of Chukanu. Red has gone straight up to 60 Chukanu. That's wild, actually. It's difficult to compare the stats of these units, but I still feel like longbows should... Straight up longbows should win this, but the light cav are providing a lot of utility here for red. A lot of utility. Okay, who needs siege? Longbows are nuking down this town center, sure. Blue's getting close again. We're up to 90. Is my dream still alive? Oh, it's gonna be another fight. No, we're so close to 100. Honestly, the outcome of the game, not as important for me anymore. I just want to see 100 elite longbows on the field. We're going to lose some here, but like I said, I think this is just better for the longbows, generally speaking. That's a lot of Chukanu fertilizing the soil. The longbows are just pushing in here. Blues had some trouble getting siege out where they need it on the field, but as long as they're pushing in with something, I don't even care that much. Like, this is still 50 longbows here. So worst case scenario, they're still doing, you know, 50 damage per volley to the buildings. This is something red needs to think about at least. Arbalest coming in now for blue. We're getting close again. We are getting close again. This is not a good fight for red. Underneath the castle as well. Not ideal. No, don't start making arbalests. We need more longbows. Don't suck up population space with those stupid archers. We've got such better archers here. Oh, red's cut through the middle. I didn't even notice this. This is why red got onager. Actually, Giga Brain. I didn't even think about this. I don't know why. The players were so passive about cutting through the middle all game. I didn't even consider the fact that red was going to cut through the middle with the onagers. That's actually so smart. Red has killed so much here. I was even wondering, I was like, why are we getting more longbows on the field? Where's all the population space coming from? It was from villagers dying in the middle. I don't even know if blue has noticed this yet. These 4 onagers have decimated blue. Okay, you definitely don't want to dive in that far with the cavalry and then not commit. If you're going to get right underneath the castle, you might as well take the fight. Another TC is going to get shredded by the longbows on the right-hand side. We've got a... I mean, I call it a base trade. I mean, I guess it is a base trade with the onagers. Treb is going to go down to the longbows. The onagers are going to go down to the longbows. Wait, this is our moment. There it is. 100 elite longbows on the field. Yes. Yes, I'm so excited. I've never been this hyped for anything in my life. We just needed enough other units to die to red up here to hit that 100. We're at 105. It's so beautiful. More longbows than every other unit for blue on the field combined. It's so gorgeous. Definitely my favorite unit in the game. I'm so hyped. It's so many. I mean, just like 50 on the bottom, 50 on the top. How does red ever push? I don't think red does. This castle's gonna go down. Red's down at 150 total population. Red has done a good job of expanding behind this, but unfortunately blue was on these resources for so long, there's not very much left out here for blue anymore. Chukanu pushing down at the bottom. We might dip back below 100. It doesn't matter. Wherever we end in this game, it's the journey, right? Not the destination. We got over 100, even if we dip back below. I don't know if we will, actually. Red was not chasing with the army here. We still probably will, actually. It would be pretty hype if we ended up with over 100, though. Red's a fighter, man. A lot of players would have GG'd a long time ago against this. It doesn't take very long for a lot of players to... I think we're approaching a GG moment here. As now blue is pushing at the top, blue is pushing at the bottom, and blue is about to push through the middle. The 3-pronged attack on red's eco, and the GG is called. Red gets one last... No! He gets one last onager shot to pull blue back below 100 elite longbows. Sad. Unfortunate. But blue pulls it off. Crazy game, actually. That was a wild game. I'm so glad I loaded into this game. Absolutely crazy. Now red's gonna get on Reddit and be like, Britons are so broken. How are you ever supposed to beat the Britons? The longbows are insane. You can never actually get to them and attack them. No, probably not, but this is why almost 300 elite longbows created for blue in that game is bonkers. Almost 2-to-1 KD for blue, but the eco was literally 50% more res collected for red compared to blue. That's crazy.